Peace to the 12, man. What's going on? Y'all see the title? These Africans are not Hamites. Really, it's these African tribes are not Hamites. We're going to be going into some literary sources that differentiate certain groups, letting you know that everyone that is in the continent of Africa are not Hamites. Even today, you still got the lost tribes of Israel in there, and you got the Ishmaelites that are over there in the land of North Africa, and you got the Amalekites as well as the Idumeans in the land of South Africa. So there's still other people, but I'm talking about it specifically with so-called black people. You have so-called black people in the continent of Africa that are not Hamites, and we're going to prove that in this video. I want to give a shout out because that's what I do if I get some information for somebody I didn't find it myself. I want to give a shout out to the Saints of the Most High. Y'all can check his channel out, but he gave me this book, which is The Origin and Antiquity of Physical Man. It's going to be the first book we're going to go into, right? So this book was written by a guy named Hudson Tuttle. Hudson Tuttle was a free thought writer who opposed dogmatic traditions. He was an American spiritualist author, publisher, and lecturer, and things of that nature. And he wrote this book called The Origin and Antiquity of Physical Man, scientifically considered by Hudson Tuttle. We're going to go to... Did I not put the page number? Oh, page 150. We're going to go to the highlighted portion. And it says, African tribes, see that? African tribes of Semitic origin, the Hausa, the Galas, the Berberines, the Fulata, the Mandingos, and the Wolofs, right? So we're going to be going over here. We're going to be going over these individual groups, right? Because in the video that the Saint of the Most High did, he focused on the Hausa tribe. And I'm going to go through all these different groups. I'm going to touch on the Moors as well when we get to the Berbers, like, you know. Then I'm going to get some other literary sources like the Bible Dictionary that talks about the Negroes, as well as the Catholic Living Bible's definition of a Negro. And then that'll probably be that, right? So let's get into it. I got like 120 slides, but I don't think it'll be a long video. But we'll see, right? First of all, what's a Semite? A Semite can be someone that's Judean, an Arab, an Assyrian, an Aramaean. Really what a Shemite is someone that comes from the line of Shem, right? From the seed line of Shem, hence the word Shemite. Just like the word Hamite means you come from the seed line of Ham, just like the word Japhite means you come from the seed of Japheth. Real simple, right? Semites, and this is it right here, Semites, a term originally referring to those peoples listed in the Table of Nations, Genesis 10, as descendants of Noah's son Shem, right? Then we go down to here. Semite was then defined by the supposed physical characteristics of chief surviving representatives of the list. The Jews and the Arabs, dolichocephalic skulls, curly and abundant hair, slightly wavy or straight strong beard, predominantly black. See that? Predominantly black, prominent, straight alkaline nose, oval face. That's according to them what a Semite is. Semitism, characteristic attributes of Semitic people. Yeah. And like I said, Genesis chapter 6 and 10, you want to know who the sons of Shem are? We'll put it on right here. Genesis 6 and 10, and Noah begat 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. We're going to be focusing on Shem, obviously. We go to Genesis 10 and 31. It says, these are the sons of Shem by their clans and languages in their territories and nations. So these are the sons of Shem. Who are the sons of Shem? It tells you that in Genesis chapter 2, verse 22. The children of Shem, Elam and Ashur and Arphaxad and Lud and Aram, right? And through Arphaxad you get Eber, which is where you get the Hebrews from. And through Eber you get Abram, which is where you get Abraham, and that's where you get Abraham, Isaac, Jacob. You also get Ishmael, Edom. I got it right here anyway. Because those of you don't know, you see this word Eber. That's what they say that Hebrew comes from, the word Eber, right? A number of medieval scholars such as Michael the Syrian, Bar Hebraeus, and Agapius the historian mentioned the prevalent view that the Hebrews had received their name from Eber, right? We'll also point out, according to others, the name Hebrew means those who cross, right? So there's some speculation that Hebrew comes from the word Eber, right? And as you can see, here's Abraham, and through Abraham you get Ishmael, you get Esau, you get Jacob, right? And he also had some with Keturah, which is where you get these guys, the Midianites, and certain things of that nature. Now that being said, now let's go back to the tribes of Africa, because I want to zoom over that real quick. and focus on the tribes of Africa in this video. The Semitic tribes of Africa, right? So we're gonna go back to this book, The Origin and Antiquity of Physical Man, scientifically considered by Hudson Tuttle. We're gonna go back to page 150, and it says African tribes of Semitic origin. It says the Hausas, the Galas, the Berberines, the Fulada, the Mandingos, and the Wolofs. Right? So I was rudely interrupted. But anyway, the Hausa tribes, the Galas, the Berberines, the Fulada, the Mandingos, the Wolofs. So when you go to the Hausa tribes, it gives you the Habe, the Hausa, Fulani, and Banza, or Banza 7. These are the Hausa people. They're a native ethnic group in West Africa. They speak the Hausa language, which is the second most spoken language after Arabic in the Afro-Asiatic language family. Right? So, yeah. They have an Afro-Asiatic language group there in West Africa. And I actually mentioned the Fulani before in other videos, and we're going to touch on them later on as well. But this is what they say the Hausa people look like, as you can see. The Hausa spoken language, they're in places like Nigeria, the northern parts of Nigeria, Ghana, Cameroon, Benin, Togo, southern parts of Niger, and Chad, with significant minorities in the Ivory Coast, and a small number of speakers also exist in Sudan. That's the Hausa spoken language. Many Hausa in Saudi Arabia identify as both Hausa and Afro-Arab. Right? But anyway, he was saying that the Hausa people are a Semitic tribe. They're an African tribe with Semitic origins. Now let's go to the Galas tribe. So the Galas tribe, because he said the Hausa, now we're going to go to the Galas. The Galas tribe, the Gala, also known as the Oromo, are a nomadic pastoral ethnic group of people from Ethiopia and Kenya, right? So this is the Galas tribe, also known as the Oromo tribe, right? I actually mentioned them before too in my Black Europe video. I'll touch on it briefly here, but y'all can go. I'm gonna link the video, or I'm gonna show y'all the video in a minute. But from this book, Celtic Myth and Legend, Poetry and Romance. By the way, this book is $2,000, $600, $2,606. I keep saying 200,000. Yeah, whoa, ain't that much. But by Charles Squire. We're gonna go to page 19. It's talking about who are the ancient Britons, meaning the people of the British Isles. And it says the earliest of those two races would seem to have inhabited our island from the most ancient times, and may, for our purpose, be described as Aboriginal. It was the people that built the long barrows, in which is variously called by the ethnologists the Iberian, Mediterranean, the Berber, the Basque, the Silurian, and the Asquarian race. In Bazik, it was short, swarthy, dark-haired, dark-eyed, and long-skulled. Its language belonged to the class called Hamitic, the surviving types of which are found among the Galas, Abyssinians, Berbers, and other North African tribes. And it seems to have come originally from some part of either Eastern, Northern, or Central Africa. So the Galas people were in the British Isles way back in the day. This is another picture of the Galas tribe. I'm not really going to go too much into that. Y'all can go check out this video I did, Black People Living in Europe First Proof. I also did a video called Original European. I did a video called Black Irish Clans. All you got to do is go to my channel. When you type in Robert Penn, you go to my channel. To the right of community, you type in the word Europe. It'll give you every video I've done on Europe. Right? Except for the ones that don't have the word Europe in the title. But I've done a significant amount. Anyway, so moving on. We got the Hausas. We got the Galas. Let's go to the Berberines. Right? So when we go to the Berberines, that's the Berber tribes, right? What are the Berbers known for? The Berbers are skilled nomads of the Sahara Desert, possess a deep understanding of camel husbandry. For centuries have herded and traded livestock, and today many Berber tribes maintain their nomadic lifestyle within the Moroccan desert. All right. What race are Berbers? Mediterraneans, probably from some admixture from the Myco-Manus subrace of ancient times. The Arabs were Orientalids. The Syrians probably mixed Oriental and Armenian stock. These Moors cultivated the science with success and taught Spain and Italy for 5 centuries. Yeah, the Moors did teach Spain, right? And the Moors didn't look like how they looked. Moors look more like this guy. I'll go into that more in a minute, right? So that's dealing with the Berbers. Once again, these are also African tribes of Semitic origin. The great tribes of Berbers were often known as ancient Libyans. Were said to be three, roughly from the west to east: the Moori, the Numidians near Carthage, and the Guaitulians. The Moori inhabited the far west, ancient Mauritania, now Morocco, and central Algeria. Right? And this is what they show you what the Berbers look like, right? Some of them look Caucasian, some of them look like light-skinned Arabs. Right? And there's a reason for that. There's a reason why a lot of Berber tribes have that Caucasian look to them. That's because the Romans ruled North Africa for over 500 years. So you can imagine that they had mixed with the locals. Right? You have the Macedonians in Ptolemaic Egypt from 332 BC to 30 BC. Right? In 30 BC, the Romans took control and they ruled Egypt for 600 years. Right? So there's that. That's why there's that Caucasian element in the place of North Africa. And even now in the American census, right, a lot of Middle Eastern or North African descent in the federal government in America officially categorize the people from Lebanon, Iran, Egypt, and other countries as white. So they classify them as so-called white people. I wonder why, right? I've done videos over that in the past. But the idea that this... but the idea that the ancient Moors are like this is absolutely ludicrous, right? And I'll prove that in a minute. I mean, just right here when it says that... the Moors cultivated the sciences. We're going to touch on what the word Moor means, right? I done did this. This ain't my first time doing that. But now let's go to the Arab. The reason why you have so-called Arabs there that look like Middle Eastern Arabs or Ishmaelites. The reason that is because in 640 A.D., that was the Arab and Muslim conquest. In June 6th, the Arab Muslim army sent by Caliph Omar begins siege of Heliopolis. City succumbs mid to late July, paving way for Muslim conquest in Byzantine Egypt. So they got over there around 640 A.D. And that's why, like I said, the modern inhabitants or a lot of people in North Africa look like Arabs, and they also look like so-called white people. All right, because they intermix with people, and the rest they kicked off to the region of Sudan. I've done videos on that, and I'm gonna continue to do videos on that in the future. But we're gonna be looking at the original Berbers, right? The original African Berbers. You know, as you can see, these are also Berbers. And as you can clearly see, they're so-called black people, right? Look at these Berbers, right? These are your original Berbers, right? And we're going to touch on the word Moor as well. I'm just showing these pictures real quick of these original Berbers, right? And let's go back to this thing where it said these Moors cultivated the sciences with success in taught Spain and Italy for 5 centuries. Now we're going to touch on this word Moor, right? So let's get to it. Modern definitions, they done changed the word Moor, right? You know, that's what happens when the devil's put in power. But anyway, the word Moor, according to Google, it says an expanse, open, rolling, and fertile land, or a boggy area, right? Then you go to here on the New World Encyclopedia, it says Moor is a member of the Muslim population of Al-Andalus, now Spain and Portugal. So that's what they say that a Moor is. And they try to say that this is what the Moors look like, right? Simply cap. All right, stop the cap. Lies, right? Let's prove what a Moor really is. I've done this a million times, and I'm going to do it a million more. So let's go to Moor, and all you got to do is to prove what a Moor is, all you got to do is go to the old dictionaries and old encyclopedias. You can even go to old literary sources, but we're going to focus on dictionaries and encyclopedias. So first we're going to go to Samuel Johnson, who wrote his own dictionary, the Samuel Johnson's Dictionary, 1755 edition. We're going to go to the 1773 version of Moor. It says Moor, a marsh, a bog, right? But now look at source number 2, Moor, Morris, Latin, a Negro, a blackamoor, right? So Moor is a Negro or a blackamoor. And let's go to what David McRitchie said. David McRitchie was an anthropologist. He was born in 1851. Anthropology just means the study and origin and development of human societies and cultures. We're going to go to his book, Ancient and Modern Britons. We're going to go to volume 1. We're going to go to page 46. We're going to read what he had to say, and then I'm going to back up what he had to say with actual evidence. He says, any Latin dictionary, any old one at least, will tell you that Morris is a Moor, a blackamoor, or a tawny Moor. And Shakespeare uses the word Moor as a synonym for a Negro, right? Moor signifying thereby any black or brown-skinned man, right? Which is true. Let's go to, that tells you right there, Moor means someone, the so-called black man. It don't mean what they say it mean now. That's according to these old dictionaries. Let's prove that. Let's go to John Entick, born 1703. right? John Entick, born 1703. We're going to go to his literary work, A New English Latin Dictionary. Carefully complied. Keyword, carefully complied from the most celebrated English writers. Check this word out. Moorish. Moor. A blackamoor, right? Maori. Moorish. Moors. The people of Mauritania. Mauritania, the farthest part of Africa to the south, right? Check this out. Moor. Ethiopian. Ethiops, right? Moor, Ethiops. Synonymous, right? Let's go with this. What does Ethiops mean? Burnt face. The term Ethiops, Ethiop, burnt face. Ethiopia, an ancient term for parts of Africa. So Moor is synonymous with burnt face, right? And the word Ethiopian itself in Greek means burned face, right? Dark skinned, right? What does Ethiopia mean in the Bible? Gage and Beck state that Ethiopia means black in complexion. So if Moor is synonymous with Ethiops, that means Moor means, the so-called black man. See, they don't want to give the black man any credit. That's why they don't want the black man to be the Egyptian. That's why they don't. That's why they don't want the so-called black man to be mentioned in the Moors of European history, even though there's paintings and tapestries and books written about it, right? Like you can get a poem written in the 11th century called A Song of Roland that documents Charlemagne's conquest in Spain, his failed conquest in Spain, and he notes that he saw 50,000 Ethiopian soldiers as black as tar. I've done a video on that as well. Let me see if I included it in this list. On that particular Song of Roland, I did. It was called the Black Side of European History. Go watch that. You know. Also, I'm gonna say this too. I might need to make another channel because YouTube turned off the comments on this channel, and I looked at what that means when they turn off the comments. It said that they're reviewing your video, whether they want to take it down or not for A, B, and C for violating. So you know, just a heads up. But anyway. Watch it while I steer to the black side of European history. For that Moor thing I talked about with the Song of Roland. But anyway, let's continue on. Yeah, Moor, black complexion. Yeah, let's get another definition. John Ogilvie. He was a Scottish lexicographer born in 1797. He wrote a book called The Imperial Dictionary of the English Language by John Ogilvie, Volume 3. Here he goes. Moor, page 203. It says Moor, Moorish, and Moor, probably from Moorish, black or dark color. See, it keeps saying Moor means black. It don't mean Muslim. Moor means black. All right, black or dark color, a native of the northern coast of Africa, called by the Romans Mauritania, the country of dark complexioned people, dark-skinned people, right? Encyclopedia Londinus, Universal Dictionary of Art and Sciences and Literature. We're going to go to here as well. This is another encyclopedia. This is page 754. It says Moor, Moorish, black, a Negro, a blackamoor. See that? Moor, a Negro, Moor, blackamoor. See that? See, ain't no way around it. And let me say this as well, because I want to mention that yes, the so-called Negro was in the North African region. Look at this right here, Encyclopedia Londinus, Universal Dictionary. Check out what this says. It says also that the Negroes or blacks held an early correspondence with the ancient Mauritanians, Numidians, and Carthaginians. I want to repeat that, right? It says the Negroes held an early correspondence. What does correspondence mean? Resemblance. They resembled them, had an early resemblance to the ancient Mauritanians, keyword ancient first, ancient Mauritanians, Numidians, and Carthaginians, right? I wanted to bring that home, right? So that's why I told you that these were the original Berbers, right? These were the original Berbers, right? You see that? Ain't no way around that. Negroes, blacks, corresponds with ancient Mauritanians, Numidians, and Carthaginians, right? So let's continue on. Let's go to this National Web Archive of Black Presence, Asian and Black History in Britain, 1500 to 1850. We're going to go here. This is from the UK Government National Archives. Look at this word, Moor. It says, originally this term was applied to Muslims who conquered parts of Spain in the 8th century. That was not what it originally was. I showed you what it originally was according to older dictionaries. But check it out. It also denotes people from Morocco and Mauritania and North Africa. Went over that. Now check this out. In Britain, it was often used to refer to any black person. particularly Muslims. The word Moor appears in Shakespeare literature. It was spelled a variety of ways and often combined with black or blackmore, blackamoor, blackmore. Blackamoor was used as a synonym for a Negro in the 15th, 16th, and 17th century. Right? Boom. Right? Let's get is Mavro, because the word Mavro the word Moor comes from the Greek word Mavro, which again means black. Even ChatGPT knows that. I asked ChatGPT. Is Mavro the Greek word for the word Moor? It says, yes, you are correct. Mavro is the Greek word for black. And it's sometimes used to refer to the Moor, especially in the context of dark or black soil. Yeah, also skin, right? Even Mavro as a name, the name means more dark skin. Dark color of the skin, more dark. Mavro. Right? Let's get a couple of images. This is what they depicted the Moors as. D. Moor van Frysing. Right? This right here. I believe this is a painting in Germany. In 1316, it's a Moor. So-called black man with a crown on his head. King. Moses defeat. This is a tapestry. Moses defeating the Moors from Rudolph von M's World Chronicle about 1400 to 1410. German. They're in Germany. Tempera colors and gold leaf parchment. Check this out. You got a so-called black man with a crown on his head. So-called black woman with a crown on her head. You got black knights going against the so-called white man in the 1400s. Right? And then once again, they're called Moors. You got the Habsburg, the Moor of Habsburg, 1500. He's got the double black eagle with the crown. So-called black man. Need to zip his pants up. Bro got his thing out. You got the St. Maurice German Church, circa 1411. See that? Then let's get the biblical definition. Once again, like I mentioned before, how Moor was compared to Ethiops, meaning an Ethiopian. It's the same thing in certain Bibles. When we go to the Bible, we go to Zephaniah chapter 2, verse 12, King James Version. It says, ye Ethiopians also, ye shall be slain by my sword, right? You go to other versions, it says Cushites or Ethiopians, and all these different versions. Cushim, Cushites, Ethiopians. That's what it says, right? But when we go to the Geneva Bible, and others as well, we go to the Geneva Bible, which was at the foundation of the American colonies. It was the Bible used in Jamestown and preferred Bible of the early Pilgrim settlers of New England. All right, what's so special about it? It used the Roman type instead of the traditional black letter for the first time in the English scriptures. So we go to this Geneva Bible, 1560 edition. This is the Geneva Bible, Zephaniah 2 and 8, 1599 Geneva Bible edition. It doesn't say Ethiopians. Remember, it said ye Ethiopians. Well, in this it says ye Moorians. In Zephaniah 2 and 12 it says ye Moorians also shall be slain by my sword with them. Right? This word Moorian, we'll touch on that in a minute, but let's get other versions. Geneva Bible 1587, Moorians. Bishop's Bible 1568, Moorians. Coverdale Bible 1535, Morias. Now this word Moorian, it means a Moor. Moorian is the plural form of a Moor. Moorian, a Moor. Right? The word Moorian meaning an individual with black skin color. Right? So again, Ethiops and Moorian were interchangeable. Let's go to the next thing. That was just my little spiel on the Moor. Let's go to the next one. Because we got a couple others. It said what? Hausa, Galas, Berberines. Let's go to the Falada. Right? Which I thought it was going to be talking about the Falasha, meaning the Abyssinian Jews. But apparently Falada was talking about the Fulani, right, which I mentioned before in previous videos. Then we'll go to there next, real quick. The Falada are the Fula people, right? The Fula people, also known as the Fulani or the Fulbi, right? Fula, Fulani, Fulbi. They're an ethnic group of Sahara, Sahel, and West Africa. They live mainly in West Africa, northern parts of Central Africa, South Sudan, Darfur, and regions of the Red Sea coast and Sudan. Right? And these are the Fulani people. They're known for having that reddish-brown complexion. Right? The Fulani people. Right? These are the Fulani people. A lot of so-called red bones, reddish-brown people. And this skin complexion right here that you see, this is what is really ruddy. This is what ruddy really means, right? Like when you hear about ruddy in the Bible, this is what ruddy means. That reddish tinge to the human skin, right? That reddish brown. I'm going to prove that in a minute. He's got ruddy. It pops up 4 times in the King James Version. And I'm also going to touch on this, my beloved is white and ruddy as well, in a minute. But like nowadays, when you look up the word ruddy, you think of a ginger, right? This is what they show you what ruddy means. This is not what ruddy. This is not the ruddy it's talking about. These people right here are the actual ruddy, and I'll prove that in a minute. First, let's deal with my beloved is white and ruddy. Let's go to Song of Solomon, chapter 5 and 10, which reads, "My beloved is white and ruddy, the chiefest among 10,000." The white is talking about, it's not talking about his skin complexion. It's talking about my beloved is clean. That's why in other versions, it says my beloved is radiant and ruddy, right? Dark and dazzling, radiant and ruddy, dazzling and ruddy. It's not, and then you click on this word white, dazzling, glowing, clear, bright, white and ruddy. It's not talking about his skin color. That's why it tells you in Song of Solomon, chapter 1 and 5 and 1 and 6, that I am black but comely, or I am black but lovely, as the tents of Kedar, paraphrasing, right? So she compares herself to the tents of Kedar, which if you Google it, the tents of Kedar are black, right? But anyway, we're going to deal with this word ready. But first, let's go here real quick. It says, the dark-skinned Hebrews found a great beauty and a clear complexion. Now, let's touch on this word ruddy, right? Touch on this word ruddy. Well, if I type in a ruddy cow, what do I get? A reddish-brown cow. Brown cow. Ruddy cow, ruddy horse, same thing, reddish-brown. Ruddy goat, same thing, reddish-brown. Right? Now, we're going to go to Alan Howard Godby. He was a writer. He wrote a book called The Lost Tribes of Myth. And he's going to call the Fulani people ruddy as well. The Fulani people, he was a Methodist historian, a teacher, a writer, a scholar in the field of the Old Testament, Hebrew history, archaeology, and Semitics. He was a professor at Duke University 1926 to 1932. We're going to go to his book, The Lost Tribes of Myth by Alan Howard Godby. This is what he had to say about the Fulani people. He calls them ruddy. That's the point. He says, Phut is a son of Ham, that is a vassal of Egypt. Now the Fulas, who have pushed across Africa from Somaliland to Senegambia and the lower Niger, have the very tradition that they were the descendants of Phut, the son of Ham. Right? Now I've had people that tell me that the Fulani people are part of the Israelites. I've had people that tell me the Fulani people are original Ishmaelites, and I've had people tell me that they're the sons of Ham. I'd have to really go further in looking up the history of the Fulani people for me to make a decision. But this is what he said according to them. But nonetheless, he's about to say that the Fulani people are a ruddy people. Like I said, like a ruddy goat, like a ruddy cow, like a ruddy horse, right? Now, they call themselves also the pool, the fool, the plural, pool be, ruddy, clear, brown people. Let me say that for the people in the back. Ruddy, clear, brown people. Ruddy, clear, brown people. That's a ruddy person like that. Ruddy. Right? Let me go back. What did it say? The dark-skinned Hebrews found great beauty and a clear complexion. This is that clear complexion it's talking about, man. That's why he called the Fulani people ruddy. That's why he called the Fulani people ruddy, clear, brown people. Right? And this is a ruddy person. Let's go to the next people. Where was it at? One second. Let's go back to where we was at. So we got the Hausa tribe, we got the Gaulish tribe, we got the Berberines, we got the Fulada. Let's go to the Mandingos. Mind you, this goes back to these are African tribes of Semitic origin, not Hamitic. Semitic origin. Let's go back. Right? Let's go back to the Mandingos. The Mandinka or Malinki are a West African ethnic group primarily found in southern Mali, Gambia, southern Senegal, eastern Guinea. A major ethnic group of Sierra Leone, a branch of the Mandinka people of West Africa, the Mandinka, right? And through the Mandinka, that's where you get the black buck stereotype. You know, the big, strong black man dude look like Luke Cage from the comic books. That's where you get that from, Mandingo, right? Mandinka. Rural subsistence farmers who rely on peanuts, rice, millet, maize, and small-scale husbandry for their livelihood. The Mandinka people. One of the cultural roles, men who fulfill a role are called griots. They play the harp, basically. Right? They play the harp-like musical instrument called the kora. Interesting. I got to look more into that. But yeah, that's where the Mandingo warriors, descendants of the Mali Empire of west coast of Africa. The Mandingo people. Right? 14th century Mali. And that's where you get the Like I said, the black buck stereotype, Mandingo, right? Conjured by the minds of enslavers and auctioneers to promote the strength, breeding ability, and agility of muscular young black men. That's where the Mandingo comes from. Mandingo trope was born, right? Right? And that's where you get the big, like I said, the big, strong black archetype. And that includes King Kong, by the way, because King Kong is a racially based movie. I used to say that back in the day before I was in the truth, man. I used to say, man, I think King Kong is racist, man. You got this big, which he's supposed to be a gorilla, right? And he kidnaps the so-called white woman, and he dies for her and all that. I was thinking that was racially motivated. But I'm going to have to rewatch King Kong, man, and go into that, man, because I swear it is. But anyway, the Mandingo people, by the way, are Israelites, right? The Mandingo people are Israelites, right? Let's get this book. Alessi Reclus, born March 1830, and he wrote a book called The Universal Geography by Alessi Reclus, volume, 12, West Africa. That's what he had to say about West Africa. Talks about the Mandingans of the Gambia, right? Check this out. He says, the Mandingans, who are now broken up into many rival petty states, are excellent husbandmen, but to display their remarkable talents chiefly as traders. They have been compared to the Serakos, the Jews of West Africa. So they have been compared to the Serakos, who are the Jews of West Africa. But unlike them, are chiefly wholesale dealers, carrying a large caravan trade between Sierra Leone and Timbuktu and extending their expeditions from Senegal to Lower Niger. All right. And by the way, that word Niger or Niger, which is really the N word, you can find that in Acts 13:1. Click on that word, it'll say it means black, one of black complexion, right? And that's why in other versions it doesn't even say it; it just says black man in Acts 13:1. Just wanted to add that as well. But yeah, it said like compared to the Serakos, the Jews of West Africa. Who are the Serakos? The Serako people are the Soninke people, right? The Soninke people, and they were exiled by the Muslims, by the way, right? That's how they got pushed where they are now, because it says the origin of the Serakos says the first series that they originated in the ancient Songhai Empire and were supporters of the Sunni royal family who were exiled in 1493 by Askia Muhammad. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that the reason they are dispersed right now is because of the Muslim invasion. But anyway, these are the Soninke people, right, of West Africa. Remember, he called them black Jews. He called them the Jews of West Africa, right? Let's get another witness on this as well. Let's go to James Gray Jackson, guy who died in 1850. He doesn't tell me when he was born. This is what James Gray Jackson had to say in his book, an account of Timbuktu and Hausa territories in the interior of Africa, meaning the Central African region. 475, page 475. It says page 187. Yehudi, a place of great trade. This place is reported to be inhabited by one of the lost tribes of Israel, possibly an immigration from the tribe of Judah. Yehuda in African Arabic signifies Judah. Yehudi signifies Jew. It is not impossible that many of the lost tribes of Israel, look at this, it is not impossible that many of the lost tribes of Israel may be found dispersed in the interior regions of Africa, which, okay, see that lost tribes of Israel are found dispersed in the interior region of Africa. When we shall become better acquainted with the continent, it is certain that some of the nations that possess the country eastward of Palestine, when the Israelites were a favored nation, have immigrated to Africa. Boom. See that? And yeah, let's back that up. Yehuda means Judah, meaning another tribe of Judah. Right? Let's get another witness. Let's go to Leo Africanus, guy born in 1494. Right? Leo Africanus, he wrote a book called The History and Description of Africa. Right? And of the notable things therein contained, volume 1. We're going to go to page 32. We're going to read the highlighted portion. It says, howbeit, they say that upon the Nilus do inhabit two great populous nations, one of the Jews towards the west, under the government of a mighty king. Yeah, this I is really a J, right? So it says the Jews toward the west to the government of the mighty king. The other more southerly consisting of Amazons or warlike women. That's talking about the Dahomey tribe, whereof We will speak more at large in relation to Mononaptapa, whatever that word is. But yeah, the Jews toward the west, right? We read about that. And the reason we know it's talking about an area, this region had to be somewhere near the Dahomey, because the Amazon-like woman are the Dahomey woman warriors, right? So that's where it comes. So, and the Dahomey are located in present-day Benin, right? And this is Benin, and this is where it's near Benin. You got Benin, Nigeria, Togo, Ghana, Porto Novo, right? So it would be in this area right here, right? Burkina Faso. And I've done videos on this. I've done an in-depth video on that. Go check out my video called The Hidden Black Jews of West Africa, right? For more on that. Now let's go to another people group. Right, let's go to another people group. Let's catch back up. So we got the Hausa tribe, the Galas tribe, the Berberines. We got the Fulada. We just did the Mandingos. Now let's go to the Yolofs, which I believe the Yolofs are pronounced Wolof now. The Wolof tribe, which we're about to get here. The Yolofs, which is the Wolof or the Wolof people. I don't know how to pronounce it. They're another people group of West Africa, northwestern Senegal, Gambia, southwestern coastal Mauritania. See that? In Mauritania. Interesting. They're farmers. They grow peanuts, cash crop, millet, sorghum, staples, right? These are the people, right? Here's some more Wolof people. Here they go right here. I saw a picture. This was a picture of someone of the Wolof tribe. It looks like he might have fringes. I'm not sure. But I thought that was an interesting garment right there. All right, this is a Wolof queen in 1850. And the Wolof people are West African ethnic group. Yep, and they're even found in coastal Mauritania. Yep, we talked about Mauritania earlier with the Moors. They originally migrated here from Central or Eastern Africa to Mauritania, allegedly, right? Anyway, and also for the Wolof people, or the Wolof people, they are tall, dark, and they're believed to be the tallest ethnic group in West Africa, right? Right? So they might fall under what is tall, dark, and handsome. Like I said before, we ever invented tall, dark, and handsome, I swear they stole it. It had to be talking about a so-called black man. And I actually looked that up before I finished recording this video. It says the not-so-attractive origins of tall, dark, and handsome. It says, tall, dark, and handsome, like Prince Charming, originated with upper-class Europeans in the 1600s when swarthy Moors, like Shakespeare's Othello, served as generals in the Venetian army. So Othello, who was a so-called black man, that's where this guy said that he thinks tall, dark, and handsome come from. I would agree with him, right? And they had a so-called white man in blackface play Othello. Ain't that something? But, yeah, Othello was a so-called black man, a Moor, and he was written by Shakespeare. And Shakespeare himself was called a upstart crow. But we'll get into that when I do the video on Shakespeare. And it makes sense that they were tall, dark, and handsome. Because when they see Jake shining, when these other nations see Jake shining, they fan out, man. And I just got this picture of LeBron James showing. But anyway, let's also deal with the Negroes, the word Negro, before I close out. Let's go to the other things. Because remember, the basis of this video was based on the fact that it says African tribes of Semitic origin, and it gave you the Hausa, Galas, Berberines, Fulada, Mandingos, and Yolofs. They were of Shemitic, not Hamitic, right? Now let's go with the Negroes, because they tell you that about the Negro as well in Bible dictionaries. Let's go to the word Negro. This is the Zondervan Bible This is the Zondervan Bible Dictionary, right? We'll deal with the sons of Ham. It says Ham, youngest son of Noah, born probably about 96 years before the flood, and one of 8 persons that lived through the flood. He became the progenitor of the dark races, not the Negroes. So they say Ham is the progenitor of the dark races, not the Negroes. Well, then who are the Negroes? I'll tell you who the Negroes are. They're the Israelites. But the Egyptians, Ethiopians, Libyans, and Canaanites. So let me read that again. Ham was the progenitor of the dark races, not the Negroes, but the Egyptians, Ethiopians, Libyans, and Canaanites. Right? Makes me think of the scripture, Exodus 11:7. But against any of the children of Israel shall not a dog move his tongue against men or beast, that ye may know how that the Lord Yahawah doth put a difference between the Egyptians and Israel. So there's a difference between an Egyptian and an Israelite, right? And Ham was the progenitor of the dark races, but he wasn't the progenitor of the Negroes. Boom. Right? He put a distinction between Egypt and Israel. Right? There's a distinction between the Hamites and the Negro. Right? Let's get another one. Right? Let's go to the Catholic Living Bible, the Way. Page 12. It says Ham is the ancestor of the Canaanites. Now check this out. It says Ham is the ancestor of the Canaanites. Ham was not the ancestor of the Negro. So Ham was the ancestor of the Canaanites. He was not the ancestor of the Negro, as once erroneously supposed. So it was an error to say that the Negro was of the Hamites. See that? All right, let's get some more on that. They've always wrote books about differentiating the Negro from the Hamites. This is the Encyclopedia Americana, 1922 edition. All right. It says Hamitic, the Libyan. All right. Cushite, Abyssinian. Check this out. The Fula group and the Hausas and Sokoto have some Hamitic admixture. So if they have some Hamitic admixture, what is their other mixture? It would be Shemitic, right? These Hamite tribes are much mixed geographically or more intimately with Semitic and Negro tribes and elements. So once again, the Hamites are mixed with the Semitic and the Negro tribes. See how they try to differentiate the Negro from both Shemite and Hamite, right? All right, because they want to cut them off from being. They want to cut the Negro off from being a nation, like it tells you in Psalms 83. Right? Let's go more in this Encyclopedia Americana. It says Negro, a name properly applied to the races inhabiting the continent of Africa, originally between latitude 10 degrees north and 20 degrees south. The term does not, check this out, Negro. The term does not include the inhabitants of northern Africa, the Egyptians, the Berbers, the Nubians, the Abyssinians, and others. Neither do the Hottentots in South Africa belong to the Negro race. The term Negro, therefore, is not synonymous with African and is not a national appellation, right? So all you Negroes out there that say, I need me a Nubian queen, y'all not the same people. The Nubians are not Negroes, and the Negroes are not Nubians. But denotes the ideal type constituted by certain physical characteristics, namely black skin, woolly hair, flat nose, thick, averted lips, and a prognathous form of skull. Out of Africa, Negroes are found in the United States, West Indies, Brazil, Peru, Cape Verde Islands, and Arabia. Right, let's go to another. This is Charles Francis Richardson, born in 1851. This is also Salim Peabody, born in 1829. And they wrote a book called the International Encyclopedia of Compendium of Human Knowledge, Volume 1. We're going to go to page 137. And it reads, these are classed by the Lepsis into two great physical and linguistic groups. So they're in two different groups. The Hamites in the north and the Negroes in the south. So he differentiates the Hamites from the Negro. Hamites in the north, Negroes in the south, meeting and intermingling in the intermediate region of Sudan. But this broad grouping is inadequate to explain the present condition, for there are probably more than two indigenous stock races. So again, there's two, and he once again says there's two individual stock races of indigenous stock. There are two different great physical and linguistic groups of Hamites in the north and the Negroes in the south. They're differentiated, right? And I wanted to also touch on the word Phineas as well. Phineas, which says Phineas, meaning mouth of brass, or Panay Hasi, Egyptian, the Negro. So it says Phineas goes back to the Negro according to here, right? And Phineas is in Exodus 6-25, Numbers 25-7, and 1 Samuel. So I just wanted to go on that as well. But that'll conclude the end of this lesson for this video on these Africans are not Hamites. And once again, it says these various African tribes are of Semitic origin, not Hamitic. And that'll be the end of this video. And with that, I say peace to the 12, and I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to the Heavenly Father, the Most High, whose name is Yahawah, in the name of his only begotten Son, whose name is yahawashi. Yahawah is the name of the Heavenly Father, who is commonly known as God. Yahawashi is the Savior of the nation of Israel, who is commonly known as Jesus Christ. I want to say shalom, which means peace to you people listening and learning. Your brothers doing this work, truth, sincerity, and to your others that's been doing this thing before me, man. I'm going to go ahead and get up out of here. I'm gone. Shalom, peace.